So I'm excited now to lead to our concluding remarks. We'll be joined first online by Stefanos Vitoratos, co-founder of Homo Digitalis. Thank you, Stefanos.
Greetings from Athens, Greece. Everybody can hear me, I guess. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and participants of the 5th Athens Roundtable on AI and the Rule of Law. 2023 has been really a fascinating year with the rapid dissemination of generative AI, and of course, in terms of crucial AI initiatives throughout the world. We witnessed miracles. I mean, we were alarmed by them, and we didn't have even closely enough time to read all the legislation that was produced, or draft legislation that was produced. So being today with you in this position to deliver the closing remarks of such a great conference, despite the time zone difference, makes me feel that this is not just a celebration. It's more a reflection to me, a moment of reflection on the path we tread together towards a future where AI harmonizes seamlessly with our fundamental values. In an attempt to, in a way, sneak the Hellenic nexus here, I suggest that the preservation of our common values is an indispensable element when navigating the uncharted waters of AI. The rule of law, democratic principles, and respect for human rights must come first and remain at the heart of our endeavors. These values have defined our societies throughout the centuries, and much like the pillars of Greek philosophy, they should be the bedrock upon which our AI-infused future stands. Throughout this year's roundtable, we have delved into the complex intersection of AI and the rule of law, recognized the imperative of fostering multi-stakeholder dialogues like this one. The kaleidoscope of perspectives presented by legislators, regulators, law practitioners, developers, civil society, and more points out the sophisticated nature of the challenges we face. These challenges go beyond borders, and to this end, our solutions must be equally inclusive from global north to the global south. This is not a challenge exclusive to one region or language. It is a shared responsibility that necessitates an equally global response. Thus, this mosaic of voices here, it's not just a feature of our discussion. It is a fundamental imperative, again, in shaping the governance of AI and setting the guardrails for its development in the future. This is a clear message drawn from the Athens Roundtable and should be heard around the world. Now, as we stand at this threshold, let's not avoid the hard questions. Let us delve into the core of the matter and challenge ourselves to find solutions that will stand the relentless test of time. How can we ensure that AI systems are transparent, accountable, and fair? How can we mitigate the potential biases and discrimination that may arise from AI algorithms? How can we protect individual privacy and ensure that AI does not infringe fundamental rights? Are we ready to use the national security excuse to exclude AI systems from public scrutiny? Are we going to leave the market to self-regulate on the risk that an AI system poses for us people? Civil society, which I represent here today, must be included in the discussion of AI governance. And even if it doesn't, it will be served as a vigilant watchdog and a careful advocate of human rights. It will not be easy to ensure that the impact of AI aligns with ethical standards and our societal values. But it is a fight that we will give at all costs, as we already do. In this context, it is equally important to recognize the pivotal role of decision makers in the US, EU, China, and hopefully beyond. The ongoing deliberations in these regions shape the landscape of AI governance. You, decision makers, your ideas and actions may foster an environment where AI thrives within ethical and legal bounds. Or they could lead to the biggest disaster in modern history. You are making history right now in your respective regions, and you should rise to your role and your responsibility. Our common task is not merely adapting existing structures, though, to the demands of AI, but to forge new mechanisms, new adequate laws, new institutions, frameworks of enforcement, processes and standards. All must evolve or be created to catch up with the rapid pace of AI development, but always with a clear focus on preserving our fundamental rights over time. In this quest, let's not give any discounts like the EU seems to be currently discussing. After all, Black Friday was last Friday. Before summing up, I wish to extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of Homo Digitalis to our co-hosts, speakers, and participants. Your contributions have enriched our collective understanding and set the stage for ongoing dialogues. The collaboration witnessed over the past 2 days exemplifies the strength that arises when diverse perspectives come together in one. In conclusion, let this not be the end, but a continuation of a dialogue that transcends time and boundaries. The Athens Roundtable has again ignited a spark, as it does every year. Together, we can harness the power of AI for a more just, equitable, and prosperous future for all. Here's to the journey in 2024, and may the conversation between us continue to flourish beyond the confines of these 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stefanos. For our final concluding remarks of the conference, I welcome Nicolas Miailhe, founder and president of the Future Society.
This is the end of the 5th edition of the Athens Roundtable. I think that after these 2 days of intense and hopefully frank conversation, it's not difficult to understand that governance and institutional innovation challenges, if we are indeed on the cusp of more AI breakthroughs, are going to be quite radical in nature and intensity. And without a soft consensus on the dynamics of the rise of AI, we will continue to struggle to calibrate those cocktails of self, soft, and indeed hard regulatory mechanisms, and their enforcement, and the international coordination that we so urgently require here in the West, including with China in the East, and with the global majority. That's, at the end of the day, what AI governance is about, and what the year ahead regarding AI governance. The field has now become, as I was saying in my opening remarks, mainstream. It's a household topic discussed at the kitchen table, dinner table. Who would have thought 10 years ago when we started? There are indeed, as we've heard over the past 2 days, intense legislative and executive actions on both sides of the Atlantic and beyond, ongoing lawsuits on copyrights, and indeed an accelerated institutional innovation effort. That is to be celebrated. Just to name a few pathways that we've heard about, as I mentioned before, efforts are finally on to create an IPCC for AI, that is to create that scientific consensus on AI and its risks. And in a way that is globally inclusive, meaning inclusive of China as well, and the East and the global majority. Plans for new regulatory agencies are on as well at the national level, at the local level, and internationally. And efforts to crack model safety evaluation and independent audit to help drive the behaviors of developers, deployers, and investors in AI systems towards what we could frame as common sense risk prevention, management, and mitigation measures. We have a huge window of opportunity for AI policy. The probable advent in the coming weeks of an ambitious EU AI Act has, in my opinion, been pushing a lot of actors to act over the past 12 months. Do you think it's a coincidence if right in the middle of the trilogue in Brussels, we had the UK Safety Summit in Bletchley Park, the release of the executive order, the release of the G7 Code of Conduct? I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that the EU AI Act has provided an impetus for others to act. And I think that in short, the AI governance field and goals is about delivering on the following 4 big goals and resolving the tensions between and across them. Alignment of AI, control of AI, security of AI, and access to AI. and defining who is the we that gets to define the answers and the questions. I think this is what Tawana was mentioning before, and it's very important to heed. After Brussels last year at the European Parliament, bringing the Roundtable to DC this year was such a great opportunity and an honor. I hope we've made the most out of it. Reflecting on the last edition and this edition at the crossroad of this EUA Act and other efforts, I think that a lot of people in Europe and beyond were making fun of the EUA Act 5 years ago when the effort was just started. And now, almost everyone sees value in it, if not crucial value, I would say on both sides of the Atlantic as an opportunity. I think we should not forget the unprecedented political deal that kickstarted the trilogue. 499 votes from 4 different parties on the floor in Strasbourg. This kind of majority is the kind of things on these type of topics is something that is often dreamt of on this side of the Atlantic. That was a big political deal to build upon, a big mandate to enter into the trilogue. So I hope that the member states will find the strength to move beyond partisan and national interests, and indeed to serve the greater good for Europe and beyond. As this represents, as I said before, an impetus to the entire world to move towards hard regulation as we need to move. And so let me dare to say, I have a dream. That 1 year from now, exactly, as we congregate, and as an outcome of the incoming election cycle in the US, we will see a clear pathway towards a bold US AI Safety and Innovation Act that can uphold the fundamental rights of citizens, protect children, consumers, and vulnerable populations, prevent extreme risks and accidents, enable safe and sustainable innovation, and promote freedom and democracy. In closing, I would like, of course, to thank all our great sponsors and co-hosts, starting with the Institute for International Science and Technology Policy at the Elliott School of International Affairs, GW, and particularly Professor Vitoratos, Susan Aronson, and Kristen Gilbert for all their help. Thank you so much. I would also want to thank the NIST NSF Institute for Trustworthy AI in Law and Society, TRAILS, UNESCO, OECD, the World Bank, IEEE, the Center for AI and Digital Policy, Homo Digitalis, Stefanos, and the Embassy of Greece in DC, which this year's event is under the aegis of. I would also want to express my gratitude to the Patrick J. McGovern Foundation for the continued support, and particularly to its president, Mr. Villas-Dar. And also to our supporting organizations, the law firm Paul Weiss and Arnold & Porter, for the continued support. Much appreciated. And finally, and potentially for me, most importantly, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and admiration to my stellar team at the Future Society, starting with our great MC, Yolanda Landquist, our program director, Nikki Iliadis, producers Amanda Leal, Samuel Curtis, Evan Price, up there in the production room. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Tony, Felicity, Nicolas Moes, my successor, Frank, Sam, Caroline, and Fabienne. Kudos, ladies and gentlemen. We are very much grateful to all of you. And so let me conclude this conference and thank our audience for joining online and in person here. These were 2 long days, intense long days. And let me look forward to seeing all of you 1 year from now at a destination to be announced soon. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. So that closes our conference. Let me thank you so very much, all of you, and see you 1 year from now. Thank you very much.